Ndị be anyị ekeneni m unu n'ụbọchị nke taa. Anyị sị na ya dịrị ndị Igbo na mma. Dịka o si dị, ihe a bụ Igbo Media ka anyị si wee na-ewetara unu ya bụ nnukwu ozi dị oke mkpa gbasịta maka ana Igbo and Igbo community and ihe debe na Nigeria. Ya bụ ife ka anyị na-ewetara unu na Igbo Media. Dịka isi wee na-esole anyị, ọ bụ na nke a bụ ụbọchị izizi gị ị na-abịa n'ilu akwụkwọ na Igbo Media, kabaru ka i subscribe and turn on your notification ka ị lapụ miss any of our update dịka anyị na-etikwu ya n'ilu akwụkwọ kwa mgbe. Dịka o si dị, o nwere ya wetara n'ụbọchị nke taa gbasịta maka ka ya bụ ife si ada and gbasịta maka ka ya bụ ife si akpọtụ n'ala Igbo. Biko mma achọ ka ige ya bụ ife. Ihe a bụ Biafran Prime Minister Maazị Simon Ekpa. O nwere ife okwu n'ilu akwụkwọ mma achọ ka unu ga-esi ya bụ ife ọ na-adọrọpụrụ anyị ifu nche n'ilu akwụkwọ gbasịta maka ihe ndị a niile okwu. All right, over to you, sir.
I said he's a man that says what he means and also means what he says. That was how I summarize him, because with him, you can know where you stand on an issue. I asked him, he's very close to me. I commissioned, I beg your pardon, please. Sorry about that. I'm sorry about that. I didn't know my friend him because he loved cooking and we were in the kitchen together to cook. I asked him one thing. Oh yes, he's a good chef, man. If you eat Wike's food, you will not, you have to be careful. I asked him one pertinent question that was bugging me, and very genuinely. I said I've been in Abuja for at least 8-9 years. I didn't know there was a minister here of FCT. I didn't even know his name. How come you have just come in and things have turned around just as you had made Rivers the biggest construction site in Nigeria? You suddenly now made FCT the biggest construction site. How do you do it? Where do you get the money from? Where is the money coming from? Where has this money been? Those were the questions I asked him. I think he said something to the following effect. He just said, my brother, you know, it's God's economics. God's economics. We salute you for making my generation proud and for being a good landlord, as even the President Tinubu called you, and for being a Mr. Project. Let me greet my distinguished elder statesman here. Simply Mr. Sam Amuka Pemu. His newspaper name was Sad Sam. He doesn't look sad because that man you are seeing sitting down there is almost 90, definitely over 80. But when I came in, I greeted him casually. He didn't know and didn't recognize him until another person came to greet him. Sir, thank you, sir, for inspiring us, for inspiring a whole generation, for allowing us to read you when we were in primary and secondary school in the 60s and 70s. May Genesis chapter 6, verse 3 be yours, 120 years. I want to also thank the awardees here today. My brother, my good brother is here, Bello Adoke, the man they could not kill, the man they could not tar with the paintbrush of shame, the man who was unjustly, unjustifiably vilified for many years. And I'm very proud to have been your lawyer to bring out your innocence, and you were vindicated. God bless you. For others, do not be angry if I do not mention you, but not before I have mentioned General Abdusalami Abubakar. No matter what you say about the present democracy, which is 25 years now, he and my elder brother and friend, Admiral Hawkeye Mike Akigbe, gave us this democracy we are having now in 1999. But we had to fight. Gani Faromi, myself, and others, we fought them with bare knuckles. So we got there running into the barracks. Thank you, sir, for giving us our democracy. So today I speak on 25 years of uninterrupted democracy in Nigeria, the prospects and possibilities. Certainly, a quarter of a century, 25 years, is not a joke. Children born 25 years ago are already themselves parents. And that is why people celebrate Silver Jubilee, because it is a significant moment in anybody's life or any nation's life. And the children born from 1999 who are 25 today did not witness military juntas, repressive military governments that we fought throughout in the trenches. For example, when I sued Babangida 37 years ago against removal of oil subsidy, which we are still fighting today. You see published in National Concord, 30th December 1987. That is about 37 years ago. We are still in that battle today in the trenches. So these children born 25 years ago, we may never know what we went through during successive military governments when we were being picked up and detained again and again. They wouldn't understand. But thank God we have democracy. But the democracy we are practicing, what manner, what genre of democracy is it? Have we lost something? Have we gained something? Is it the type of democracy once defined by Abraham Lincoln, one of the greatest American presidents, on the 19th of November 1863, as government of the people, for the people and by the people? Is that the democracy during his Gettysburg Declaration in Delaware? That was the man who led the Northern Union against the Southern Confederates. That was the man who signed the Abolition Pact to abolish the 500 years slavery. After people like Thomas Clarkson, Olaudah Equiano, William Wilberforce had fought and lost the battle. But of course, he was promptly assassinated. My take on this is that we have not quite gotten to the tenets of democracy. Sure, we are having civilian governments, but I'm not too sure it is democracy in that true sense of the word, that the people elect or select their leaders and the votes are counted and the votes are allowed to count. It is when votes are counted and the votes are allowed to count that you can say that the people have actually elected or selected their leaders. The people become the dog. Those elected become the tail. And you know the tail cannot wag the dog. That is why I have commenced a special I've commenced a special series called Ozekhpedia in my own neologism, where I have coined certain words that I think we are practicing instead of genuine democracy. We have selectocracy, we have electionocracy. Electionocracy, the politician wins today, uses 1 year to do one or two things, is already looking forward to the next election. We have judocracy, where presidents, governors, senators, House of Rep members are incubated and delivered in the hallowed presence of courts instead of through the ballot. We have legislatocracy. It's a system whereby the legislature, instead of challenging the executive, saying, sir, what you are doing is wrong. We have oversight functions under sections 88 and 89 of the Constitution. Anything that president takes to them, like the Agama lizard, they say, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. That's what we call legislatocracy. Of course, we have executocracy. We saw it in the last 8 years, where we have a near dictatorship, even under a democratic environment. These are things we must avoid if we want our democracy to really grow and mature. We all saw what had been happening in Kenya. William Ruto thought he could be a dictator within a democratic system. And the people said, no, we voted for you. That's one of the Trojans who were in the trenches together. He was lucky to escape after Yaradua died in Enugu prison. He was there with him. That is why he can afford to grow Afro hair today. Senator Shehu Sani, my very good friend and brother. So, William Ruto decided to show some dictatorial tendencies. He imposed a finance bill, which he wanted the parliament to quickly pass into law. And the parliament was working hard on it. The people took to the streets and said, no, you cannot. We don't want this finance bill. You are tasking everything, even up to the bread we are going to eat. We can't cope. The man thought they were joking. He said, to hell. And the people went on the streets, went to parliament, closed it down, burned some places. We saw the police in action, moving against them. They killed about 23. And instead of the president showing concern and sensitivity to the plight of the people, he came on air. He accused them of treason and treasonable felonies, and even referred to the unarmed demonstrators as criminals. Of course, that was the litmus test the people needed, and they went more violent. But thank him again. One of the qualities of good leadership is to know when you are wrong and to be able to correct yourself. You can't always believe that you are right, like Louis XIV of France, who in 1416 will stand in front of parliament to say, l'état c'est moi, I am the state. You can't be the state. So he knew that what was going on could consume the entire Kenya. And he came on air. He said, I feel you. I've heard you loud and clear. I will no longer sign that finance bill, and it will be withdrawn. Not only that, we are going to start by making sacrifices from the president down to members of the parliament and even the judiciary. Cut our pace, stop issues of buying brand new cars. And with that, I think the people now felt that, well, we beat his sense into the head of this man, so that he will not, because they were now beginning to see him as an imperial stooge of Western powers. So, in talking about democracy, therefore, I have done some diagnosis. There's a period you call the transition, such as we did in 1999, transiting from military dictatorship to civilian government. There's the second phase we call reconstitution of a new political order. And the third and final phase is that which consolidates the gains of democracy. So the 2 decades after the reintroduction of civilian rule, more than 2 decades, Nigeria seems to be stuck in the final phase, that final and third phase where you consolidate the gains of democracy. And I have asked the question, we talk about democracy dividends. Dividends is a corporate word that comes from the corporate world. It's a word that comes from the corporate world. Dividends. It means something you share from profit or from surplus. So I've asked the question, have we actually made profit in our democratic experimentation from which we now hope to share, to have dividends? I do not know. I do not know about that. So I know that somehow we lost it along the line when you look at the kind of the situation we were before and now. Where are the Ajaokuta steel mill, the Alaja steel mill, the Kano and Katsina rolling mills, the Oshogbo rolling mill? Where is the United Nigeria Textile Mill in Kaduna? Chelarams that used where we used to wear our clothes. Oku Iboku, a pulp and paper mill for our newspapers. The NGC factory in Ibadan for our cooking gas. The Nigerian Airways, that was the biggest airline in Africa. I flew it, my first trip abroad in 1983, December 31, the day General Buhari played his goal. And I paid 350 naira to Dallas Fort Worth Airport. I didn't need a visa because the naira there was about 40 naira, 40 kobo to 80 kobo to $1. We had refrigerators, freezers manufactured in Nigeria, Quali Pipe in Kano, Duna Place located in Lagos. I think what has been worrying us mostly is what Professor Cloud, okay, now lay, God bless his soul, once described as a disarticulate economy. He described a disarticulate economy as an economy where we produce what we don't consume and consume what we don't produce. We produce crude oil. We can't consume it. So we sell it abroad. Then they refine it there. We now import it. So we now consume what we can't produce. An economy like that is disarticulate. Pujo cars that were assembled in Kakuri, Kaduna, Volkswagen in Lagos, Leyland in Ibadan, Anamco in Anambra, Steer in Bauchi, agricultural tractors, Vonu products in Lagos, Exide company that produce the batteries, Iso Glass in Ibadan, and TSG that produce the windscreens, Ferrodo in Ibadan that produce Pre Pass, Dunlop 1961 in Lagos, Michelin since the 50s in Port Harcourt, Sanyo products we were doing with WC in Abeokuta and Kano, Nigeria Wire and Cable. So, and if you now look at what we went through that time and what we are now going through again, the critical situation today, we are told is that the country will be losing about 94 trillion naira because of the exit of some major companies in Nigeria, which gives me cause for concern as a person who believes in this country.
Ndị be anyị daalụ nne nnukwu unu si wee na-esore na Igbo Media. Dịka unu si na-esore anyị sị na Chukwu oke abịa mapụrụ mmiri na ya gozie niile n'ofu n'ofu. Otu anyị kwuru otu a ka ọ ya dịrịrị. Ise ise ise. Kabakwa alụ ka itinye alụ nke gị na ihe niile na gbasara maka ihe Biafran Prime Minister kwugasị n'elu akwụkwọ ana ndị ọzọ dị iche iche. Kaba arụ ka itinye alụ nke gị ife ichere n'ụdị nke gị gbasara maka ya bụ ife. Dịka anyị nọkwa na-echekwa olileanya na Maazị Nnamdi Kanu ya pụta oge na-adịghị anya n'ụlọ mkpọrọ, anyị sị na Chukwu oke abịa ma ga-enye ya ike, nọnyere ya, chekwaba ya. Mana anyị kwuru otu a ka ọ ya dịrịrị. Ise ise ise. Thank you and also stay tuned at Eastern News 24. Ka emesịa nụ ndị be anyị.